1.1 Channels of communication. Channels of communication refer to the various methods and avenues through which people exchange information, ideas, and messages. Effective communication is essential in both personal and professional settings, and the choice of communication channel can significantly impact the clarity and efficiency of the communication process. Here are some common channels of communication. A. Verbal communication. Face to face, in person conversations are often the most direct and personal form of communication. Phone calls, conversations conducted over the telephone. Meetings, formal or informal gatherings where people discuss and exchange information. Though, written communication. Email, electronic messages exchanged via email platforms. Letters, traditional written correspondence. Reports, documents prepared for conveying detailed information. Memos, short written messages within an organization. Teen. Digital communication. Text messages, short messages sent via text on phones or messaging apps. Instant messaging, real time text based communication using apps like WhatsApp or Slack. Social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn for sharing information. CHAR. Visual communication. Charts and graphs, visual representations of data and information. Infographics, visual displays that convey complex information in a simple way. Videos, recorded or live video content for conveying messages. 5. Non-verbal communication. Body language, gestures, facial expressions, and posture can convey information. Visual cues, signs, symbols, and visual elements that communicate information. Chair. Printed materials. Brochures, informative pamphlets or booklets. Posters, visual displays used for communication. Newspapers and magazines, traditional print media. 7. Collaboration tools. Project management software, tools like Trello or Asana for managing tasks and projects. Shared documents, collaboration on documents using Google Docs or Microsoft Office. Intranet, internal website or network for sharing information within an organization. Art. Feedback channels. Surveys and questionnaires gathering feedback and opinions. Suggestion boxes, a method for anonymous feedback. Reviews and appraisals, formal feedback in performance evaluations. NOR. Public address systems, used in public spaces or events for broadcasting messages. Thus, interpersonal communication. Gossip, informal communication among individuals. Rumors, unverified information often spread informally. Choosing the right communication channel depends on factors like the nature of the message, the audience, the urgency of communication, and the available technology. Effective communication often involves a mix of these channels to ensure that information is transmitted clearly and reaches its intended recipients. 1 point to the language skills. A. Listening. Listening is the skill of actively paying attention to spoken language to understand and interpret verbal communication. It involves comprehending spoken words, tone, and context, making it essential for effective communication and language acquisition. Though speaking is the ability to articulate and express thoughts, ideas, and information through verbal communication. It requires fluency, pronunciation, and the organization of spoken words to convey messages effectively. Theme. Reading is the skill of interpreting and understanding written text, including books, articles, and documents. It involves comprehension, vocabulary recognition, and the ability to extract meaning from written words. CHAR. Writing is the skill of composing and conveying information through text, encompassing various forms like essays, reports, emails, and more. It requires grammar, vocabulary, and organization to communicate ideas in a written format. 1.3 Classification of language skills. Language skills are often classified into two main categories: receptive skills and productive skills. Here's a classification of language skills. A. Receptive skills. Listening, the ability to understand and interpret spoken language, including conversations, lectures, and speeches. Reading, the skill of comprehending and interpreting written text, such as books, articles, and documents. Though, productive skills. Speaking, the ability to articulate and express thoughts, ideas, and information through spoken communication. Writing, the skill of composing and conveying information through written text, including essays, reports, emails, and more. These classifications are often used in language education to categorize and assess an individual's language proficiency. Receptive skills involve understanding and receiving language, while productive skills involve creating and producing language. Effective communication typically requires a balance between all four of these language skills. 1.4 The problem of assessment. Assessing language skills can be challenging due to various factors. A. Subjectivity. Language skills assessment is often subjective as it relies on human judgment. Different assessors may have varying interpretations of a person's speaking, writing, or listening abilities. Though multifaceted nature, language skills are multifaceted, encompassing pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, fluency, and more. Evaluating all these aspects accurately can be complex. Theme. Cultural context. Language is deeply tied to culture, and what is considered correct or appropriate may vary between cultures. Assessors need to be aware of these cultural nuances. 4. Testing environment. The testing environment can affect performance. Anxiety, distractions, or unfamiliar testing conditions can impact the person's language skills during assessment. 5. Interactions vs isolation. Assessments often occur in isolation, whereas real life language use happens in social interactions. Isolating language skills from their natural context can limit the assessment's validity. Chair. Resource intensity. Comprehensive language assessment often requires trained assessors and resources for scoring and feedback, making it resource intensive. 7. Bias and fairness. Language assessments can be biased towards specific accents or dialects, disadvantaging individuals who do not conform to these norms. Ensuring fairness and inclusivity is a challenge. 8. Standardization. Developing standardized language assessments that are valid and reliable across diverse populations and contexts can be a significant challenge. 9. Technology integration. As technology plays a growing role in language learning and assessment, keeping assessments up to date with technological advancements can be demanding. Thus, lifelong learning. Language skills evolve and develop over time. Assessing the language skills of individuals engaged in lifelong learning can be complex. To address these challenges, language assessment experts continually refine assessment methods, consider cultural contexts, use diverse assessment tools, and work to reduce bias and subjectivity. The goal is to create fair, accurate, and reliable assessments that reflect an individual's true language proficiency. 2. Receptive skills, reading or skill listening. Receptive skills in language learning encompass the ability to understand and interpret language as it is presented to you, without actively producing language yourself. The two main receptive skills are reading and listening. A. Reading, receptive skill. Reading is the skill of comprehending and interpreting written text, which can include books, articles, newspapers, websites, and more. It involves not only recognizing individual words but also understanding the context, extracting the main ideas, and inferring meaning from the text. Good reading skills are essential for academic, professional, and personal development. Though listening, receptive skill. Listening is the skill of actively paying attention to spoken language to understand and interpret verbal communication. It involves comprehending spoken words, tone, and context, making it essential for effective communication, whether in everyday conversations, lectures, presentations, or any form of oral communication. Both reading and listening are crucial components of language proficiency, and they often complement each other, as strong reading skills can enhance vocabulary and comprehension, while good listening skills are vital for effective communication and understanding spoken language. 2.1 Reading skill. Reading skill refers to the ability to comprehend and interpret written text. It is a fundamental aspect of language proficiency and plays a vital role in various aspects of life, including education, work, and personal enrichment. Here are key elements of the reading skill. A. Word recognition. Proficient readers can quickly recognize and understand individual words, including their pronunciation and meaning. This involves having a strong vocabulary. Though comprehension, reading involves more than recognizing words, it's about understanding the overall message context and the relationships between ideas presented in the text. Theme. Fluency. Fluent readers can read smoothly and at a reasonable pace, without unnecessary pauses or difficulty in pronunciation. This fluency contributes to better comprehension. Char. Critical thinking. Effective readers engage in critical thinking, which means they analyze, evaluate, and question the content of the text. They may identify the author's purpose, assess the credibility of sources, and draw inferences. 5. Contextual understanding. Proficient readers can grasp the meaning of words or phrases based on the context in which they appear. This skill is especially important when dealing with unfamiliar vocabulary. Chair. Summarization. Good readers can summarize and extract the main ideas from a text, which is useful for note taking, research, and efficient learning. Sat. Inferencing. Skilled readers can make inferences, filling in gaps in the text to understand implicit meanings or connections. Art. Textual analysis. Advanced readers can analyze the structure and style of a text, identifying literary devices, themes, and the author's rhetorical strategies. Reading skill is essential for academic success, professional development, and personal enrichment. It is also a foundational skill for improving other language abilities, such as writing and speaking. Reading regularly and purposefully can enhance one's reading skill and contribute to language proficiency. 2.2 What is reading? Reading is the process of perceiving and comprehending written or printed text. It involves visually recognizing and interpreting the symbols, letters, and words on a page or screen to understand the meaning conveyed by the text. Reading is a fundamental skill in literacy and communication, and it plays a crucial role in acquiring knowledge, sharing information, and entertainment. Key components of reading include recognizing words, understanding their meaning, grasping the context, and extracting the main ideas and details presented in the text. Reading can be done for various purposes, such as learning, information gathering, entertainment, and research. It is a skill that is developed and honed over time and is fundamental to academic, professional, and personal growth. 2.3 Types of reading. Intensive reading, extensive reading, skimming, scanning, loud and silent are the main types of reading, including intensive reading, extensive reading, skimming, scanning, and the distinction between loud and silent reading. A. Intensive reading. Intensive reading is a detailed and focused approach where readers carefully analyze and comprehend a text. It's commonly used in academic and professional settings for in-depth understanding, studying, or critical analysis of a text. Though extensive reading involves reading larger quantities of material with the goal of general understanding and enjoyment. It's often used for leisure reading, such as novels, and to build vocabulary and overall language proficiency. Theme. Skimming. Skimming is a rapid reading technique where readers quickly glance over a text to get a general sense of its content. It's used to determine the overall theme, main ideas, and structure of a text without a detailed examination. Char. Scanning. Scanning is a reading method for quickly locating specific information or details within a text. Readers scan by looking for particular words, phrases, or numbers while moving their eyes rapidly over the text. 5. Loud reading. Loud reading, also known as oral reading, involves reading a text aloud, speaking the words and sentences. It's often used for practicing pronunciation, improving fluency, and aiding comprehension. Chair. Silent reading. Silent reading is the act of reading a text without vocalizing the words, speaking them aloud. It's the most common form of reading and is used for personal reading, studying, and comprehension. These various reading types serve different purposes and are applied based on the specific goals of the reader and the nature of the text being read. For example, intensive reading is suitable for in-depth analysis, while extensive reading is ideal for leisure and broad language exposure. Skimming and scanning are helpful when looking for specific information quickly, and both loud and silent reading have their own benefits depending on the context. 2.4 Techniques for reading. There are several techniques and strategies that can help improve your reading skills, regardless of whether you're engaged in intensive reading, extensive reading, skimming, or scanning. Here are some effective reading techniques. 8. Preview the text. Before you start reading, quickly glance over the text to get an idea of its structure, headings, and any visuals. This can help you set expectations and identify the main ideas. Though, set a purpose, determine why you're reading the text. Are you reading for understanding, to find specific information, or for leisure? Having a clear purpose can guide your reading approach. 13. Annotate or highlight. Use a pencil, highlighter, or digital annotation tools to mark important points, unfamiliar vocabulary, or passages you want to revisit. This helps with comprehension and review. 4. Chunking. Break the text into smaller, manageable sections or paragraphs. This makes it easier to process and prevents information overload. 5. Use context clues. When encountering unfamiliar words or phrases, rely on the context to infer their meanings. This is especially useful for improving vocabulary. Chair. Read aloud. Loud reading. Reading the text aloud can help improve pronunciation and fluency. It's particularly useful for language learners or when you want to ensure comprehension. 7. Summarize. Periodically pause to summarize what you've read so far. This reinforces understanding and helps you remember key points. 8. Ask questions. Formulate questions about the text as you read. This encourages active engagement with the material and helps you focus on the main ideas. 9. Use visual aids. If the text contains visuals, like graphs or images, pay attention to them as they can often convey important information. Thus, practice speed reading. Speed reading techniques, such as eliminating subvocalization, pronouncing words in your head, can help you read more quickly while maintaining comprehension. 11. Improve vocabulary. Expanding your vocabulary through regular reading will enhance your ability to understand and interpret texts. 12. Note important dates and figures. For nonfiction texts, note dates, statistics, and important names or figures to better remember and comprehend the content. 13. Reread if necessary. If you encounter a particularly complex or important section, don't hesitate to read it multiple times to ensure full understanding. 14. Relate to prior knowledge. Connect the material to your existing knowledge or experiences. This aids comprehension and memory retention. 15. Reflect after reading. Once you've finished reading, take a moment to reflect on the main points, key takeaways, and any questions you have. The choice of technique may vary depending on the type of reading and your specific goals. For intensive reading, you may employ more in-depth strategies, while skimming or scanning requires quick assessment and selective attention to key information. Practice and adapt these techniques to become a more effective and efficient reader. 2.5 Increasing reading speed. Increasing your reading speed while maintaining comprehension is a valuable skill. Here are some techniques to help you read faster. 8. Eliminate subvocalization. Subvocalization is the habit of silently pronouncing each word as you read. Try to break this habit by consciously speeding up your reading pace. Though, expand your peripheral vision, train your eyes to capture more words or phrases at once by widening your visual span. This helps reduce the need to move your eyes across the pages frequently. Theme. Use a pointer or guide, use your finger, a pen, or a pointer to guide your eyes along the lines as you read. This can help you maintain focus and reduce backtracking. 4. Practice speed drills. Set a timer and challenge yourself to read a passage or page within a specific time limit. Gradually decrease the time as your speed improves. 5. Reduce regression. Regression is the habit of going back and rereading sections of text. Try to resist this habit and push forward in your reading. Chair. Skim and scan. Skim the text first to get an overview and identify key points. Then, focus your scanning on specific words, phrases, or information you need rather than reading everything. 7. Maintain focus. Minimize distractions and maintain a strong, focused mindset while reading. A clutter-free environment and a clear reading purpose can help. 8. Use technology. Speed reading apps and tools can help you practice and improve your reading speed. Many of them offer exercises and assessments to track progress. No. Expand your vocabulary. A larger vocabulary allows you to recognize and understand words more quickly, reducing the need to pause and ponder word meanings. Thus, practice regularly, reading more frequently, whether it's books, articles, or any material of interest, can help improve your reading speed over time. 11. Set realistic goals. Establish specific goals for your reading speed and comprehension level. Gradually work towards these goals rather than aiming for unrealistic improvements overnight. 12. Use speed reading techniques. Investigate established speed reading techniques and strategies, such as the zigzag method or rapid serial visual presentation (RSVP), to read more efficiently. Remember that speed reading is a skill that takes time and practice to develop. Initially, you might experience a drop in comprehension as you work on increasing your reading speed, but with continued practice and refinement, you can achieve a balance between speed and comprehension that suits your needs. 2.6 Reading comprehension and summarizing. Reading comprehension and summarizing are interconnected skills that involve understanding a text's content and then condensing that information into a concise and meaningful summary. Here's how they relate. Reading comprehension. Reading comprehension is the ability to understand and grasp the meaning of a text in its entirety. It involves understanding the main ideas, details, and nuances presented in the text. To enhance reading comprehension, readers need to employ various strategies, such as analyzing the text structure, making inferences, identifying key points, and recognizing the author's purpose. Summarizing. Summarizing is the process of condensing a larger piece of text into a shorter version that retains the essential information and main points. A good summary should capture the text's key ideas, omitting minor details and examples, and presenting the content in a clear and concise manner. Here's how summarizing can help with reading comprehension. 8. Focus on key information. When you summarize, you must identify the most important elements of a text. This exercise forces you to recognize the main ideas, central arguments, and significant details. Though enhance understanding, summarizing requires a deep understanding of the text. It compels you to clarify your own comprehension of the material, which can reinforce your grasp of the subject matter. Theme. Memory retention. Summarizing helps consolidate information, making it easier to remember the main points and the structure of the text. This, in turn, aids in overall comprehension. 4. Critical thinking. Summarizing requires you to think critically about what you read, evaluating the significance of different elements and their relationships to each other. To effectively summarize a text, follow these steps. 8. Read the text carefully. Start by thoroughly reading the entire text to ensure a complete understanding. Go. Identify the main ideas, determine the most important points, arguments, and concepts presented in the text. Theme. Omit unnecessary details, leave out minor or less relevant information, examples, and supporting details. 4. Use your own words, express the main ideas in your own words, demonstrating a full understanding of the content. 5. Maintain clarity, ensure that the summary is clear and coherent, presenting the main ideas in a logical order. 6. Condense the text, strive to significantly reduce the length of the text while retaining its essential meaning. Summarizing is a valuable skill for academic and professional contexts, helping you quickly capture and convey important information from texts. It also improves your ability to comprehend complex materials, making it a valuable companion skill to reading comprehension. 2.7 Approaches to teaching reading. Teaching reading is a complex and multifaceted process, and educators often employ various approaches to cater to different learning needs and goals. Here are some common approaches to teaching reading. 1. Phonics-based approach. This approach emphasizes the connection between written letters, graphemes, and the corresponding sounds, phonemes. It focuses on teaching students the fundamentals of sound-letter relationships to decode and read words. The whole language approach encourages students to learn to read in a more holistic way, focusing on the overall meaning of the text. It involves exposure to a wide range of reading materials and encourages comprehension through context and context clues. Theme. Balanced literacy approach. The balanced literacy approach combines elements of both phonics-based and whole language approaches. It integrates explicit phonics instruction with opportunities for students to engage in authentic reading and writing experiences. 4. Interactive reading approach. This approach promotes active engagement during reading, where students participate in discussions, ask questions, and interact with the text. It often involves strategies like think alouds and shared reading. 5. Guided reading. In guided reading, students work in small groups with a teacher or reading specialist. The instructor provides tailored support, guiding students as they read and discuss the text, focusing on individual needs and comprehension. Chair. Literature circles. Literature circles encourage students to read books independently and then discuss them in small groups. This approach fosters student-led discussions, promoting critical thinking and comprehension. 7. Sight word approach. Sight words are high-frequency words that do not always follow phonetic rules. The sight word approach involves teaching students to recognize these words on sight to enhance reading fluency. Art. Reading workshops. Reading workshops are student-centered and often involve independent reading, conferring with the teacher, and participating in reading-related activities to foster a love of reading and build comprehension skills. No. Strategic reading. This approach teaches students various reading strategies such as predicting, visualizing, questioning, summarizing, and making connections. These strategies enhance comprehension and metacognition. Thus, online and technology-assisted reading. With the integration of technology, educators use digital resources, e-books, and interactive reading apps to engage students in reading while also enhancing digital literacy. 11. Content area reading. In content area reading, students learn to read and comprehend texts specific to academic subjects like science, history, and mathematics. This approach helps students develop discipline-specific reading skills. 12. Phonemic awareness and pre-reading skills. Before formal reading instruction, this approach focuses on developing phonemic awareness, the ability to hear and manipulate individual sounds, and pre-reading skills, which are foundational for early literacy. Effective teaching often involves a combination of these approaches tailored to the specific needs and developmental levels of students. Teachers may use a variety of methods to address phonics, vocabulary, comprehension, and fluency as they guide students on their reading journey. 2.8 Faulty reading habits. Faulty reading habits can hinder effective reading and comprehension. Identifying and addressing these habits is crucial for improving one's reading skills. Some common faulty reading habits include: A. Subvocalization. Subvocalization is the habit of silently pronouncing each word as you read, which can slow down reading speed. Overcoming this habit can help you read more quickly and comprehensively. Though, regression occurs when you repeatedly go back and reread previous sections of text. It disrupts the flow of reading and can affect comprehension. Teen. Reading aloud for all texts. While reading aloud can be beneficial for certain types of texts, such as poetry or language learning, it can be an inefficient and distracting habit for most reading material. 4. Lack of focus. Failing to maintain concentration and focus while reading can lead to reduced comprehension. External distractions, wandering thoughts, and multitasking can all contribute to this habit. 5. Overemphasis on word recognition. Some readers focus excessively on recognizing individual words rather than understanding the meaning and context of the text. This can slow down reading and hinder comprehension. Ignoring punctuation and formatting. Ignoring punctuation marks and the formatting of the text can lead to confusion and misinterpretation. Proper attention to these elements is essential for understanding a text. 7. Failure to skim and scan. Skimming and scanning are valuable techniques for quickly identifying key points or specific information in a text. Failing to use these strategies when appropriate can result in time-consuming reading. 8. Not adjusting reading speed. Some readers maintain a constant reading speed regardless of the text's complexity or purpose. Adjusting reading speed based on the material can improve comprehension. 9. And flexible reading comprehension strategies. Using the same reading strategies for all types of texts without considering their unique characteristics can limit understanding. Thus, neglecting context clues, ignoring the contextual cues within a text can lead to difficulties in inferring the meanings of unfamiliar words or phrases. 11. Lack of annotation or note-taking. Failing to highlight, annotate, or take notes while reading can result in a limited ability to remember and retrieve important information. 12. Reading passively. Reading passively without engaging with the text, asking questions, or making connections can lead to superficial comprehension. To overcome faulty reading habits, it's important to be aware of these habits and actively work on improving them. Developing good reading habits, such as focusing, using appropriate strategies, and adapting your approach to the text's nature, can lead to more effective and efficient reading. 3. Reading skills classroom. In a classroom, developing reading skills is crucial for students' academic success and overall literacy. Here are some strategies and activities that teachers can employ to enhance reading skills in a classroom setting. 8. Assessment and individualized instruction. Begin by assessing each student's reading level to tailor instruction to their needs. Group students based on their reading proficiency to provide targeted support and challenge. Though, phonics and vocabulary building. Integrate phonics instruction to help students decode words and understand the relationship between sounds and letters. Teach new vocabulary words and encourage their use in context. Teen. Reading aloud. Read aloud to the class regularly to model fluent reading and engage students in listening to the text. Encourage students to take turns reading aloud to build fluency and confidence. 4. Shared reading. Conduct shared reading sessions, where students and the teacher read a text together, discussing content and comprehension as you go. 5. Guided reading. In small groups, guide students through reading materials appropriate for their reading level. Discuss the text, answer questions, and address any challenges or confusion. Independent reading. Set aside time for independent reading where students can choose books that interest them and read at their own pace. Provide a variety of reading materials, including books, magazines, and digital content. 7. Literature circles. Organize literature circles, where students read the same book independently and then come together for discussions, taking on different roles, e.g., summarizer, discussion leader. 8. Reading comprehension strategies. Teach reading comprehension strategies, such as making predictions, asking questions, making connections, visualizing, and summarizing. 9. Response journals. Encourage students to keep reading response journals where they can record their thoughts, reactions, and summaries of what they've read. Thus, sustained silent reading (SSR) implement sustained silent reading sessions during which students read silently for a designated period. These sessions help develop reading stamina and encourage a love for reading. 11. Vocabulary games and activities. Engage students in word games, vocabulary quizzes, and word walls to enhance their word knowledge. 12. Book reports and presentations. Assign book reports or book presentations to assess comprehension and encourage students to think critically about what they've read. 13. Online resources and technology. Utilize online platforms, e-books, audiobooks, and educational apps to diversify reading materials and make reading interactive. 14. Regular assessments. Conduct periodic assessments to monitor progress and identify areas where individual students may need additional support. 15. Encourage a reading culture. Create a classroom environment that promotes a love for reading. Display books, celebrate reading achievements, and provide opportunities for students to share their favorite books. By implementing these strategies and fostering a positive reading culture in the classroom, teachers can help students develop strong reading skills, improve comprehension, and cultivate a lifelong love for reading. 3.1 Previewing 3.2 Anticipating 3.3 Predicting 3.4 Scamming 3.5 Skimming 3.6 Inferring meaning. These are reading strategies that help readers engage with text, understand content, and make predictions about what they are about to read. Here's a brief explanation of each strategy. 8. Previewing. Previewing is the process of looking over a text before reading it. Readers examine headings, subheadings, graphics, and any bold or italicized text to get an idea of the text's content and structure. This can help set expectations and prepare the reader for what they are about to encounter in the text. Though, anticipating. Anticipating involves considering what the text might be about based on prior knowledge and context clues. Readers make informed guesses about the content before diving into the text. 13. Predicting. Predicting is similar to anticipating but is more specific. It involves making predictions about what will happen next in a text based on clues and information provided in the text itself. Readers use the text to make educated guesses about upcoming events or developments. 4. Scanning. Scanning is a rapid reading technique used to locate specific information or details within a text. It involves moving the eyes quickly over the text to identify keywords, phrases, or specific information. Scanning is particularly useful when looking for answers to specific questions or details. 5. Skimming. Skimming is a technique for quickly reviewing a text to grasp the main ideas, overall structure, and content. It involves reading headings, the first and last sentences of paragraphs, and any highlighted or bold text. Skimming provides a general understanding of the text without reading every word. Chair. Inferring meaning. Inferring meaning is the process of deducing or interpreting the meaning of a word, phrase, or idea based on context and prior knowledge. Readers make educated guesses about the meaning of unfamiliar words or implied meanings within the text by examining the surrounding information. These reading strategies are valuable tools for improving comprehension, increasing reading efficiency, and enhancing critical thinking skills. Depending on the text and the reader's purpose, one or more of these strategies can be employed to enhance the reading experience and extract important information. 4.1 What is listening? Listening is the act of actively perceiving and comprehending spoken language or sounds. It involves not only hearing sounds but also understanding and interpreting the meaning, context, and intent behind the words or sounds being conveyed. Listening is a fundamental component of communication and plays a crucial role in personal, professional, and social interactions. Key aspects of listening include: A. Attention. Effective listening requires focused attention to the speaker or the source of the sounds. It involves giving your full concentration to the auditory input. Though perception, listening involves not only the reception of sounds but also the recognition and interpretation of spoken words, sentences, and any nonverbal cues, such as tone of voice and body language. Theme. Understanding. Skilled listeners work to understand the meaning of the spoken words or sounds within their context. This includes grasping the message, identifying key points, and making sense of the content. Char. Feedback. Effective listeners often provide feedback to the speaker, either verbally or non verbally, to indicate their comprehension and engagement with the conversation. 5. Empathy. Listening can also involve empathizing with the speaker by understanding their feelings, perspective, and emotions. This deepens the connection between individuals. Listening is a dynamic process that contributes to effective communication and is a vital component of language proficiency. It can be applied in various contexts, such as everyday conversations, academic settings, workplace interactions, and more. Improved listening skills can enhance one's ability to engage in meaningful and constructive communication. 4.2 Type of listening. Listening can be categorized into various types or modes, each serving a specific purpose or context. Here are some common types of listening. A. Active listening. Active listening is a focused and engaged form of listening where the listener pays full attention to the speaker, shows interest, and provides feedback to ensure understanding. It often involves asking questions, nodding, and using verbal cues to indicate attentiveness. Though passive listening is when a person listens without actively engaging in the conversation. While they may hear the speaker, they are not actively participating in the communication. Theme. Critical listening. Critical listening involves analyzing and evaluating the speaker's message, identifying biases, assessing the validity of arguments, and considering evidence. It's commonly used in academic and professional contexts. Char. Discriminative listening. Discriminative listening is focused on distinguishing between different sounds and identifying auditory cues. It is often used in language learning to understand pronunciation and intonation. 5. Appreciative listening. Appreciative listening is characterized by a genuine enjoyment of the auditory experience. It's often applied when listening to music, poetry, or other forms of artistic expression. Chair. Empathetic listening. Empathetic listening involves not only understanding the speaker's words but also empathizing with their feelings and emotions. It's important in supporting and comforting others. Sat. Informational listening. Informational listening is focused on obtaining and comprehending specific information from the speaker. This is common in educational and professional settings. Art. Relationship listening. Relationship listening emphasizes building and maintaining relationships. It involves providing emotional support, being open and non-judgmental, and actively listening to others in personal interactions. No. Problem solving listening. In problem solving listening, the listener actively engages with the speaker to understand a problem or challenge and collaborates to find solutions. Thus, Sympathetic listening. Sympathetic listening is akin to empathetic listening but emphasizes providing sympathy and understanding to the speaker's situation. It's often used when someone is facing difficulty or hardship. 11. Therapeutic listening. Therapeutic listening is employed in counseling and therapy to help clients express themselves and work through personal issues. It involves active, empathetic listening and support. 12. Global listening. Global listening is about grasping the overall message and understanding the main ideas without getting into fine details. It's useful for quickly capturing the essence of a conversation or presentation. The type of listening used in a particular situation depends on the context, goals, and the nature of the communication. Effective communication often involves the ability to switch between different listening modes as needed to achieve the desired outcomes. 4.3 Real life of listening, purpose and expectation, response, visibility of speaker. Listening is a crucial aspect of real life communication and takes place in various contexts, each with its unique purpose, expectations, and dynamics. Here's how listening is applied in different situations. 8. Listening in everyday conversations. Purpose. The primary purpose of everyday listening is to understand and engage in conversations with friends, family, and acquaintances. It fosters social connections, maintains relationships, and facilitates daily interactions. Expectation. In everyday conversations, the expectation is to actively listen, show interest in the speaker's words, and respond appropriately. People typically expect empathy, support, and shared understanding from listeners. Response. Responses can include verbal cues like agreeing, disagreeing, asking questions, or offering personal insights. Nonverbal responses, such as nodding, smiling, and maintaining eye contact, are also important. Visibility of speaker. In face-to-face conversations, the speaker is usually visible to the listener, allowing for nonverbal cues like facial expressions and gestures to complement verbal communication. Though, listening in the workplace. Purpose. Workplace listening is essential for understanding instructions, exchanging information, and collaborating on projects. Effective workplace listening contributes to productivity and successful teamwork. Expectation. In a professional setting, the expectation is for listeners to be attentive, ask questions for clarification, and provide appropriate feedback. Active listening is key to avoiding misunderstandings. Response. Responses in the workplace often involve executing tasks, reporting progress, or offering constructive feedback. Effective communication helps align goals and tasks. Visibility of speaker. Workplace communication can occur face to face, via email, phone calls, or video conferencing. In remote settings, visual cues may be limited, making active listening skills even more critical. 13. Listening in educational settings. Purpose. In education, listening is essential for students to absorb information from teachers and instructional materials. It is fundamental to learning and academic success. Expectation. Students are expected to listen actively, take notes, and engage with the material to understand concepts and apply them to assignments and exams. Response. Responses in education involve participation in class discussions, completing assignments, and demonstrating understanding during assessments. Visibility of speaker. In traditional classrooms, students can see and interact with the teacher. In online or distance learning, the visibility of the speaker may be limited to video or audio recordings. 4. Listening in counseling and therapy. Purpose. In therapeutic contexts, listening plays a central role in helping individuals express their thoughts and emotions, providing support and guidance. Expectation. Therapists are expected to employ empathetic and non-judgmental listening, while clients are encouraged to express themselves openly. Response. Responses may include reflective listening, offering insights, and guiding clients through self-discovery and personal growth. Visibility of speaker. In therapy sessions, the speaker client is visible to the therapist, facilitating nonverbal communication and emotional expression. Listening serves distinct purposes in various real life situations, and the expectations, responses, and visibility of the speaker differ accordingly. Effective listening is not only about hearing words but also about understanding the context, emotions, and intentions behind the message, contributing to successful communication in diverse settings. 4.4 Listening to EFL, hearing sound, understanding intonation, stress, coping with redundancy and noise using visual and environmental clues. Listening to English as a foreign language, EFL presents unique challenges for non-native speakers. Successful EFL listening involves more than just understanding the words, it requires comprehension of intonation, stress, dealing with redundancy, and filtering through noise. Visual and environmental clues can also be valuable aids. Here's how these factors come into play. A. Hearing sound. EFL learners need to develop their ability to hear and distinguish English sounds accurately. This includes recognizing consonant and vowel sounds, diphthongs, and other phonetic elements that may not exist in their native language. Though, understanding intonation and stress patterns in English play a significant role in conveying meaning and attitude. EFL listeners must learn to recognize rising and falling intonation, as well as which syllables receive stress in words and sentences. Theme. Coping with redundancy. English often includes redundancy, where information is repeated or restated in various ways. EFL listeners need to identify and filter out redundant information while focusing on essential content. Char. Dealing with noise. Noise can interfere with listening comprehension. EFL learners should practice filtering out background noise and distractions to better understand the spoken language. 5. Using visual clues. Visual cues, such as body language, facial expressions, and gestures, can provide valuable context and support understanding during conversations or when watching English language media. Chair. Using environmental clues. Environmental clues can help EFL learners make sense of spoken English. For example, in a restaurant, seeing menus, food items, and the context can aid in understanding spoken descriptions or orders. To improve EFL listening skills. Practice listening to a variety of English accents and dialects to become familiar with different pronunciations. Listen to a range of materials, including podcasts, music, news broadcasts, and movies, to expose yourself to different styles and contexts of spoken English. Work on listening exercises that focus on specific skills, such as identifying stressed syllables, intonation patterns, and filtering out redundant information. Use technology and language learning apps that offer listening activities and exercises. Engage in real conversations with native or fluent English speakers, either in person or through language exchange programs or online platforms. Consider taking formal courses or classes in English listening comprehension. Developing strong EFL listening skills is a gradual process that requires patience and consistent practice. As you become more adept at recognizing sounds, intonation, and stress patterns, you'll find that your comprehension improves, even in noisy or challenging listening environments. 4.5 Techniques for improving listening. Improving listening skills is a valuable endeavor, whether you're learning a new language or enhancing your comprehension in your native language. Here are some techniques to help you become a better listener. A. Active listening. Actively engage in the conversation by giving the speaker your full attention. Make eye contact, nod, and use verbal cues, e.g., I see, I understand, to show that you're listening. Though, minimize distractions, reduce environmental distractions, such as turning off the TV, silencing your phone, and finding a quiet place to listen. Theme. Focus on the speaker, concentrate on the speaker's words and message, not just the sound. Pay attention to their facial expressions, body language, and gestures for additional context. 4. Practice patience, allow the speaker to finish their thoughts before responding. Avoid interrupting, and take your time to process what's being said. 5. Avoid prejudgment. Suspend judgment and preconceived notions while listening. Be open to different perspectives and opinions. Chair. Ask questions, clarify your understanding by asking questions for more information or clarification when needed. This shows the speaker that you're engaged and interested. 7. Paraphrase and summarize, periodically restate or summarize what you've heard to ensure your understanding aligns with the speaker's intentions. 8. Practice with varied materials. Listen to a variety of audio materials, such as podcasts, news broadcasts, audiobooks, songs, and different speakers. Exposure to diverse voices and accents can enhance your listening skills. No. Listen actively in language learning. If you're learning a new language, practice listening to native speakers. Use language learning apps, watch films or TV shows in that language, and engage in conversations with native speakers. Thus, take notes, jot down key points, important details, or unfamiliar words as you listen. This is especially useful in academic or professional contexts. 11. Listen to different dialects and accents. Familiarize yourself with various accents and dialects, which will improve your overall listening comprehension. 12. Transcribe audio. Listen to spoken content and transcribe what you hear. This is a challenging but effective exercise for sharpening listening skills. 13. Group discussions. Engage in group discussions and practice listening to multiple speakers. This helps you adapt to the dynamics of group conversations. 14. Reflect and self-assess. After a listening exercise, reflect on what you learned and assess your strengths and areas for improvement. 15. Regular practice. Consistent practice is key to improving listening skills. Dedicate time to listening activities and gradually challenge yourself with more complex materials. Improving listening skills takes time and dedication, so be patient with yourself. Consistent practice and active engagement with spoken language will lead to significant improvements in your ability to comprehend, whether it's in everyday conversations, academic settings, or when learning a new language. 5. Listening skill in classroom. Listening skill development in a classroom is crucial for students' academic success and overall language proficiency. Here are some effective strategies and practices for improving listening skills in an educational setting. 8. Active listening exercises. Incorporate activities that encourage students to actively listen. For example, you can read a short passage, play an audio recording, or have a class discussion, and then ask students to provide a summary or key takeaways. Though, use varied audio materials. Utilize a range of audio materials such as podcasts, educational videos, and recorded lectures to expose students to different accents, speaking styles, and content areas. 13. Listening comprehension assessments. Include listening comprehension assessments in your curriculum. Create quizzes, assignments, or tests that assess students' ability to understand and interpret spoken content. 4. Group listening activities. Organize group listening activities where students work together to analyze and discuss audio content. This promotes collaboration and the exchange of ideas. 5. Listening to authentic materials. Incorporate real-world listening materials, such as news reports, interviews, or TED Talks, which expose students to authentic language use and real-life contexts. Share. Linguistic games. Engage students in linguistic games that involve listening and responding to spoken instructions or questions, such as Simon Says, or language-related puzzles. 7. Listen and respond. Encourage students to listen to a prompt or question, think about their response, and then share their thoughts. This fosters critical thinking and communication skills. 8. Visual aids: use visual aids, such as images, diagrams, or slides, to support listening activities. This can help students better understand and remember the content. No. Listening journals: assign listening journals where students write reflections on audio content they've heard, summarizing the main points and their personal reactions. Thus, variety of speed and volume: expose students to audio at varying speeds and volumes, challenging them to adapt to different listening conditions. 11.